Hey YouTube, Trueshot Technologies here. Got another product update here. This is Mosin Nagant 9130, as most of you know, a round receiver. What we're introducing today is our Trueshot Mosin Nagant See Thru scope rail. It's a two-piece system. There is a base and a rail made by Evolution Gunworks that we've modified to fit this base. This allows you to use your iron sights and keep a scope mounted at the same time. It's also got some advantages in the installation that'll come in handy for you. We're making it to match the ATI scope rail hole pattern. If you already have one of these ATIs and you want to upgrade to a see-through and a little more solid mount, that top hole pattern is going to be the same thread, same hole pattern, so you can take the ATI off, put this one on. We're not slamming ATI, but this is a little more solid setup, and it gives you the see-through advantage, so you can use iron sights or your choice of optics. Bolt you see in here, and by the way, you can see in there, I hope you can see, the gun's unloaded. This bolt was modified by Max Shepard bolts. We are going to do some photos or possibly another video later that will explain for you what you need to do if you have an ATI modified bolt. What you're going to do is just grind part of it off right along the top here, and this mount will work fine with that. Our testing on this, several hundred rounds so far, we did use an ATI modified bolt, ATI bolt handle that was ground down, and it worked fine. It doesn't look as good as this, but there are some other advantages. It's a low profile, it looks good. That's up to you guys what you do with the bolt handle. The scope base on this, the scope mount base, like I said, it's attached with two screws on top of the receiver. Let me flip this around. There's also a third screw back here. I hope you guys can see this. I got two quartz halogen lights now. I hope you can see this third screw here that goes into the side of the receiver. And then there's 5 small socket head cap screws that hold the rail to the base on this side, and 2 as you saw on the other side. Again, it's see-through. You can easily see your complete front sight picture and more at the lowest setting and up to the 200-300 yard range setting on your rear sight. It's an advantage a lot of people like to have. When we designed it, we decided to go ahead and make it see-through because, number one, the obvious advantages, and the way we made this, it wasn't that hard to do, so why not do it? And it didn't interfere at all with the integrity of the mounting. This scope mount has seen, like I said, several hundred rounds of testing. We're shooting really good groups with this 9130 that we got from, I think this one was bought from Big 5, I don't remember. It's a good gun. It's been around a long time, proven action, cheap. It's cheap to shoot. People want to know, well, why do you want to add all these accessories to an old Russian World War II rifle? Well, it's a cheap gun to begin with. It's reliable. It's accurate enough for hunting. And the ammo is cheap. So, ProMag came out with an Archangel stock for this, as you probably have heard already. 10 round magazines. We'll show you the setup in that stock later. When they did that, we decided that we'll go ahead with the plans we had for this scope rail, because if ProMag made the decision to spend the kind of money they had to spend to develop that cool stock in the magazines, and we figured it was a good choice to go with. There's some advantages of this scope rail other than see-through. I'm going to make another video for the installation on our second rifle. We're going to give you a aluminum bar that'll fit in the actual tunnel. That's a see-through tunnel, and will line up with the notch in the rear sight. That's going to help gunsmiths or you guys that are going to install this at home. It's going to help you get this scope rail centered to the bore a lot quicker and easier. Another advantage to this is this whole piece is made with a 1-250 ID, which is the same outside diameter as the receiver in this section. So it will align itself automatically this way just by the radius of the material, the actual base material. Aligning this should be really easy with those two aspects. Getting it mounted and drilled and tapped. If you've done that kind of work before, you won't have a problem. If you want to pay a gunsmith to do this, we've designed this to make it quicker and easier for you or a gunsmith to save you money. They don't need a jig. It's all common sense, and it should be easy to install, therefore cheaper if you have somebody else do it for you, because we understand that even though these rifles are in the under $200 range, even 100 somewhere now, coming back down, you still don't want to put a whole lot of money in them. That Max Shepherd bolt handle costs $56.50, $56.50, and it's nice looking and it functions well. Again, I said we'll cover the ATI bolt handle modification you need to do to use this in another video, or possibly just pictures on our website. Anyway, there's a basic information on it. It's an extremely solid mount. I'm going to come back in the second part of this real quick here and show you what scope we're using, and we'll be right back. Okay, this is the scope we've used for test for a few reasons. It's a BSA Contender 6 by 24 by 40 millimeter. This scope rail has held this large heavy scope with the sunshade and the lens covers through all the hundreds of rounds of testing, no problem at all. There's more than enough eye relief. If you're familiar with these BSAs, they have a small lug on the bottom, and we're using low rings, and that lug clears fine. BSA has been around a long time, and from what I hear, they just recently made some serious improvements to their optics. You may want to check them out, because you can get one of these scopes for like $150. 24 power, mil-dot reticle, sunshade included, and it's held up on this Mosin Nagant hundreds of rounds, and I have another one I'm using on a 308 for testing, and it's held up fine. Just a little tip there. One thing about this BSA, you'll notice the control knobs, which are, by the way, target turret type, they sit to the back side of the center of the scope, and that we thought that would give it a little more, put a little more pressure on the scope mount for testing of the integrity of it, and it's held up, like I said, just fine. There's plenty of clearance between the rear sight and the scope. That's a 40 millimeter. I'm guessing you wouldn't have any problem at all putting a 50 millimeter on. It may interfere with your sight picture, though, the lens cover. 44 should be fine too. This is the only scope we've used to test with, because I'm a guy in my 50s and I need that 24 power. No, I can use it 9 power, but it's nice. Shooting really good groups with this setup. I have out of a couple other stocks, and I'll show that to you in just a minute here. That's the introduction. Hang on just a minute, we'll show you in another couple stocks what it looks like. Again, that's Trueshot Technologies, the Trueshot Mosin see-through scope mount. Alright, we're back here with the ATI stock on the same gun. Advanced technology. This has a limb saver recoil pad on it, which I highly recommend. Well worth the money for these larger calipers that kick a lot. just wanted to give you another look of how it looks in different stocks. By the way, I'll mention this again, the bipod is here for photographs and video only. We don't ever recommend you try to shoot targets with any kind of a barrel mounted bipod or anything mounted on the barrel. I'm going to turn this around in a minute here, but another thing I wanted to show you about this was compared to the ATI, you have a lot of room in here for loading. More room. I haven't measured how much more room you have, but there's a lot of room in here. A lot of extra room for loading for you guys that obviously you don't have the stripper capability anymore when you put this scope rail on, or any scope rail. But that's another part that we wanted to make sure wasn't going to be an issue with anybody, because we know what it's like loading these things before the Pro Mag and the detachable magazines came along. If I wasn't holding the camcorder in one hand, I would go ahead and load a few, but I hope you can see there's quite a bit of extra space in there for loading, and it's easy to load. Let's turn this around, give you a view from the other side of the scope real quick. And there it is with the scope. Go over once again. There's two 1030 screws in the front of this mount and the receiver that match the ATI bolt pattern and thread. Third screw right back here in the back. I don't know if you have enough light to see that. That will also be 1032. 5 440 screws on the side holding the rail to the base on this side, 2 on the other side. This thing's solid. I mean, it's not going anywhere, believe me. It's been through hundreds of rounds of tests. It hasn't moved a bit. There's nowhere for it to flex. It's because it's tied down to 3 points. And let's go put that Pro Mag on there and show you how it looks on that Archangel stock. And we'll be right back. Alright, here it is with the scope. Same scope, the BSA 624 Contender. 624 by 40. Limb saver grind to fit recoil pad on the Archangel stock. Timney trigger, Max Shepherd bolt. Trueshot See Thru Mosin scope mount. 3 points of attachment to the receiver. Solid as can be. Turn that old Russian rifle into a modern day hunting rifle or target rifle. You choose. We like the front sights. If you know anything about our company, the front hooded post sight is the only way to shoot iron sights in our opinion. Obviously the Russians thought that, so did many other countries all around the world since the 1800s. One thing that would be nice on this is how about a rear aperture that replaces that rear leaf that's windage adjustable. No, we don't have that in the works yet, but it's on our mind, so when we do, we'll let you know. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Stay safe. If you have any comments, leave them on the website. Email us, give us a call. Trueshot Technologies. Have fun and stay safe.